Welcome back to the dojo, everybody, and welcome back to another 10-Minute Tuesday. I'm your host, Matt Lear, and I got to talk fast on this one because we are going over the dojo's top 5 IG accounts, podcasts, and books that will help you with your own personal development and your development as a hunter. So I'm going to go super fast here. I will have notes for you on YouTube and in Instagram posts. So make sure you look down and follow some of those. Now, when we're talking about Instagram accounts, I could have put 25, maybe even 50 people in this list, but for the sake of time, I could only choose 5. I broke my rules. I put 6 in there. And I chose these people because they're amazing teachers and they share a lot of content. So we're going to jump right in it. Again, I'm going to go fast throughout this list. I'm sorry for that, but there's so much good stuff. Here we go. So we're starting off with Ryan Glitsky, and you can follow him at Moose1720. Ryan is out in the woods every single week, 365, sharing how he breaks down terrain and what his mind's thinking about when it comes to setups and hunting these big bucks. He's extremely effective at what he does and consistent killer and really awesome teacher. So make sure you go check him out. Next on the list is Josh Arbogast. You can follow him at the_non_typical. This guy is really one of a kind. He's out in the woods, 365, sleeping in the back of his truck. Now he's converted a travel trailer into this amazing camper. And this guy is getting it done in Michigan on public land. And he's very consistent at putting down big bucks every year and really has awesome content. He is a personal friend of mine and has blessed my life and raised my game. I think you'll enjoy his content. Make sure you go check him out. Then we have Brian Dombrowsk. You can follow him at shadow_pursuits. Brian is an amazing teacher, again, out there 365, doing things a different way and getting it done consistently year after year for decades on public land in some of the most hard hunting areas in Wisconsin. And just like I said, an amazing teacher breaking down his terrain and his strategy almost every single weekend. So next on the list are the 2 ties. We have Ty Forbes at Ty Forbes Hunting, again, out there daily on his stories and breaking down his strategy to set up on these whitetail bucks, and he's killing them early season within the first few days, a lot of years, and has had a lot of success in just a short amount of time. Then we go to Ty Jennings. Ty is an amazing hunter over in New York. You can follow him at Whitetail Projects. This guy really is an elite hunter, doing it any way that it needs to get done in order to get his target, which is usually a 5, 6, 7-year-old buck. And then we have Greg Kazmirski. You can find him at Greg_Whitetail_partners. This guy is a wealth full of knowledge, not only just in whitetails, but also terrain and how to set up your property, but also how to hunt those bucks on public land too. He gets it done everywhere and has a ton of content that is next level, really high, and breaks it down so the average hunter can understand what's going on. Make sure you go over there, check out his account. Now we're moving into hunting podcast, and we're going to start off with the OG, Wired to Hunt, Mark Kenyon. I mean, this guy's been around since probably the beginning. He has access to some of the highest level hunters out there and just a huge library of podcasts. I'm usually finding myself listening to one of his podcasts when I'm heading out across the country to hunt whitetails. And I just love his perspective. He balances life, conservation, and hunting really well. Next on that list is Angel Road Outdoors with Brett Postal. Brett is just an amazing host, very entertaining, very thought-provoking, and oftentimes he's interviewing guys who, what I will call, is that underground, really grinder who's getting it done, who might not be known by everybody yet, but Brett is bringing them out and introducing them to the world. Then we have the Method podcast with DJ Riley, and he is an elite level guy putting out elite level content, and he's able to get in the minds of his guest and really bring out this awesome information that has helped me in my game just in the short time that he's had his podcast out. Then we go into Bowhunter Chronicles with Adam Miller. Adam is just an amazing community builder. I mean, his listeners are really truly a hunting community. It's something that I strive for here at the dojo. And beyond that, Adam, a lot of people don't know this, has helped a lot of podcasts get started He is one of the reasons why the dojo got started so smoothly. He reached out. He's just an amazing guy, but his podcast is really amazing as well. He's been around for a long time. Great content, great guest with a great host. And then we have the Runnin' and Gunnin' podcast with Justin Simon. This is a podcast hosted by a humble killer, and he gets it done year after year. Also getting in with those elite level guys, but then bringing on those underground guys as well. Very good mix up of guests. Really love this podcast. I think you will too. Now, moving on to personal development. My favorite podcast to listen to is The School of Greatness with Lewis Howes. He covers everything you could possibly think of, from business, personal development, health, relational health. And he does it in such a way that is so entertaining and full of knowledge. Really love his podcast and his book that he has out. Then I go to The Adversity Advantage with Doug Boast. And Doug really covers a lot of the same topics, but does it from a different way. Well, full of knowledge, a lot of different topics that are going to help you with your personal development. Number 3 for me is the Keep Hammering Collective with Cam Hanes. I know there's a lot of Cam Hanes haters out there, but this podcast is amazing. He gets into some of the most elite athletes and hunters' minds and really talks about that mindset that it takes to be the best that you possibly can be. And then I go into the Mind Shift with Erwin and Aaron McManus. Again, this is mindset, talking about reaching your full God-given potential, and they do it from a very unique perspective, and really love what they're bringing out. I think you will be blessed if you listen to that podcast. I know I have been. And then, of course, Jocko podcast. If you're in leadership at all, anywhere, at work or in your own family, the Jocko podcast is really something that everyone should listen to again. So the last topic we're going to cover is books, and this is a mixed area of books, but the first one that I think has impacted my life maybe the most is The Last Arrow by Erwin McManus. This is about living your life to the fullest. And think about it, if you had a quiver of arrows, and you want to make sure that you let every one of those arrows go in this battle called life before you hit the ground. Do not leave one of those arrows, and those arrows represent your potential. Really amazing book. Probably the reason why I have this podcast today is because of that book. The next one is The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. This is the way to start off your day with a Stoic meditation, getting you in the right mindset to conquer the day and really conquer your life. I read it every morning, and it takes about 5 minutes. I also suggest getting the journal that goes along with it. It's pretty amazing. The next one we have is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've talked about it before on this podcast, and it is also a book that helped change my life 20-some years ago. It is a classic in the personal development space. It is still very relevant today. And if you haven't read it, please go do that. It will change your life. I promise you, if you follow those 7 habits. Number 4 is Endure by Cam Hanes. Again, I know there's some haters out there. I was kind of one of them before. I don't know if I was a hater, but I just didn't really prefer listening to Cam Hanes or watching his stuff until I read that book. And now I've got a firm understanding of who he is, where he come from, and a huge respect for what he had to do to get to where he is today, and just really enjoyed that book. It's one that I actually had my boys listen to on a road trip, and it's one that I'll read and listen to over and over again. And the last one is Mapping Trophy Bucks by Brandon Herndon. This book really changed my game and really up my skills as a hunter, understanding how big bucks use terrain to travel and how to set up on them. It is an amazing book with awesome pictures and great teaching. And now you can use your Onyx app to kind of go with it and look at your own properties with this book. I suggest everyone read it if you have not. Now, I know there's a lot of other podcasts, a lot of other books. I would love conversation around this. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment below what your favorite books and podcasts are, and maybe some of your favorite IG accounts that you follow. Also on Instagram, do the same. Leave some comments. Let's get some great conversation going, because we all have or know of something or follow someone that we think could probably help other people. Let's get that list going. This should be a long list. I can't wait for this conversation. Now, that's it for our 10-Minute Tuesday today. But also remember, on Wednesdays, we drop a mentality vlog over at YouTube. That's where we get in the mindset of a mobile hunter. It's an awesome series that we've been doing. And then on Thursdays, we interview a whitetail master. And you can find those podcasts anywhere you listen to podcasts. And until we see you again, embrace the journey.